Tamil Puthandu Nalvazhuthukkal, Happy New Year and best wishes for the amazing year ahead. Today's discussion is on inflammaging. The definition of that is how aging increases risk for inflammatory problems.
Welcome, namaste and greetings to all. I would like to inform you that every day we are doing meditation for world peace and harmony at 9 a.m., 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. UK time. I would also like to mention that we can be proud that we have achieved 701 days of daily meditation 3 times a day, for which we are grateful to all those who contributed to this achievement. Today, first there will be meditation with calming music. After that, there will be a thanksgiving to the universe, and our guest speaker, Professor Dr. Anand Chockalingam, will speak on the topic of how inflammation accelerates aging, on the topic of how inflammaging. Thereafter, question and answer discussion session will take place in English and Tamil. You can ask comments or anything in Tamil as well. Now, Saroja Devi Sundarlinga Master will conduct the meditation. Thank you very much.
மன அமைதி உளவியல் மருத்துவத்தை முன்னிலைப்படுத்தியும் உலக சமாதானம் அமைதி ஒற்றுமைக்காக தியானத்தினை மேற்கொள்ள இணைய வழியூடாக இணைந்திருக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் எமது பணிவான வணக்கம். தியானத்திற்கு முன் சில நன்றி கூறும் உறுதிமொழிகளை கூறிக்கொள்வோம். நாம் இத்தியான தளத்தில் இணைந்து கொள்ள கிடைத்த சந்தர்ப்பத்திற்காக நன்றி கூறிக்கொள்கிறோம். அற்புதம் நிறைந்த இந்த பிரபஞ்சத்தில் நாமும் ஒரு அங்கமாக இருப்பதற்கு நன்றி கூறுகிறோம். எம்மை சுற்றி இருக்கும் இயற்கையின் அழகுக்காகவும் இயற்கை எமக்கு அளிக்கும் சந்தோஷத்திற்காகவும் நன்றி கூறுகிறோம். எமது வாழ்க்கையில் கிடைத்த அனைத்து அருட்கொடைகளுக்காகவும் ஆசீர்வாதங்களுக்காகவும் நன்றி கூறுகிறோம். Greetings to all who have joined today to meditate, focusing on peace of mind, psychological healing, and for world peace and harmony. Before meditation, let us say some positive self-affirmations. We are thankful for the opportunity to take part in joint meditation in this forum. We are thankful for being a part of this wonderful universe. We are thankful for the beauty of nature and all the gifts of nature that surrounds us. We are thankful for the spiritual awareness and the blessings of God Almighty that we receive in our life. இப்பொழுது தியானம் செய்யும் முறையை கவனிப்போம். தியானத்திற்கு முன்பும் பின்பும் இளம் சூடான நீரை அருந்திக் கொள்ளுங்கள். உடலை தளர்வாக வைத்துக் கொண்டு நிமிர்ந்த நிலையில் உட்காருங்கள். கை விரல்களை ஒன்றுடன் ஒன்று இப்படி கோர்த்து மடிமேல் வைத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். கால் பாதங்களை ஒன்றன் மேல் ஒன்றாக இப்படி வைத்துக் கொள்ளுங்கள். கண்களை மெதுவாக மூடிக்கொள்ளுங்கள். இப்படியான நிலையில் நீங்கள் தியானம் செய்யும் பொழுது பிரபஞ்ச சக்தியினால் உள்வாங்கப்படும் பிரபஞ்ச சக்தியின் 100% சக்தியையும் நீங்கள் சேமிக்க முடியும். உங்கள் இயல்பான சுவாசத்தில் கவனம் செலுத்தி கண்களை மூடிக்கொண்டு சிந்தனைகளை கட்டுப்படுத்திக் கொள்ளுங்கள். இவ்வாறு மனதை வெறுமையாக்கி மௌனமாக தியானம் செய்யும் போது பெருமளவு பிரபஞ்ச சக்தியை உள்வாங்க முடியும். இதனால் உங்கள் நாடி மண்டலங்கள் சுத்திகரிக்கப்பட்டு மன ஆரோக்கியம், உடல் ஆரோக்கியம் நிறைந்த பேரானந்த நிலையை உங்களால் அடைய முடியும். இப்பொழுது ஒரு இனிமையான இசை வழங்கப்படும். இந்த இசையின் பின்னணியில் நாம் 1 மணி நேரம் தியானம் செய்வோம். Let us look at the guidelines for meditation today. Please drink lukewarm water before and after meditation to prevent dryness of your throat and mouth. Please remove your spectacles if you are wearing one. Sit comfortably in a quiet place, relax your body and sit straight. Interlock your fingers like this and place your hands on your lap. By doing this, you will be able to save 10% of energy that you take in during meditation. While seated, cross your legs like this, and this will help to save you another 10% of energy. While seated, gently close your eyes. By closing your eyes, you are able to save 80% of energy. While gently closing your eyes, please focus on your normal, natural breathing, the inner breath and outer breath, in order to prevent unnecessary thoughts crossing your mind. During meditation, you will be provided with a melodious, calming music. In the background of this music, let us now meditate for 30 minutes. Thank you.
Stop the recording, please.
Music for the. Thank you. Today, our guest speaker, Professor Dr. Anand Chockalingam. Everybody knows that Professor Anand Chockalingam is not new to our forum. He always comes here and he has introduced so many people, so many masters to give speeches. And today, Professor Dr. Anand Chockalingam is going to, his topic is how inflammation accelerates aging. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். இன்று எமது பிரதம பேச்சாளர் ப்ரொஃபஸர் ஆனந்த் சொக்கலிங்கம் அவர்கள் ஹார்ட்ஃபுல் லிவிங், அதாவது ஹை லைஃப் என்ற ஆர்கனைசேஷன் ஃபவுண்டராக இருக்கிறார். அவர்கள் இன்று எங்களுக்கு பேச எடுத்துக்கொள்ளும் விடயம் ஹவு இன்ஃப்ளமேஷன் அக்ஸலரேட் ஏஜிங் என்ற தலைப்பில் பேசுவார்கள். இப்பொழுது எங்கள் குழுவின் சார்பாக ப்ரொஃபஸர் ஆனந்த் சொக்கலிங்கத்தை வரவழைக்கின்றோம். நன்றி, வணக்கம். தேங்க்யூ டாக்டர்.
வணக்கம்.
வணக்கம்.
அனைவருக்கும் தமிழ் புத்தாண்டு நல்வாழ்த்துக்கள்.
புத்தாண்டு வாழ்த்துக்கள் டாக்டர்.
Shall we go ahead and get started?
Yeah, நீங்க இப்ப ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம்.
Excellent. So this is a very auspicious occasion. Tamil Puttandu, the Tamil New Year. So that falls on April 14th. So this weekend meeting is an excellent occasion for us to start off and help us move in the best direction possible. So I would like to thank the organizers, Srikanth Raja and all our friends for inviting me to meet you, share so many exciting ideas we have and the latest science in inflammation. So we'll go ahead and get started. I have some slides to show you. Yes. Now you can hear me?
Yeah, fine.
And you can see the slide also?
Yes, we can.
Excellent. So greetings friends all over the world. Tamil Puttandu nalvaazhuthukal. Happy New Year and best wishes for the amazing year ahead. Today's discussion is on inflammation. The definition of that is how aging increases risk for inflammatory problems. Today we will also focus on the opposite of that, which is how inflammation ends up accelerating the aging process. So both these things we are going to cover. We will start with one example. This is a 47-year-old engineer living in Atlanta, Georgia, taking care of her family, her work, 2 teenage children. She's developed chest pain pounding in her chest, fast heartbeat, palpitation, and blood pressure when she checks it at home is 180 over 100 millimeters mercury. She called me, and because I live several states away, I found a local cardiologist closer to her home who evaluated her and did testing and then put her through a stress test. This stress test showed ST segment changes consistent or concerning for ischemia, and then we had to do CT angiogram to make sure there is no tight blockages that need to be fixed. So what she ended up getting diagnosed is with microvascular angina, hypertension, palpitation, and at the age of 47, we calculated her heart to have already felt like the strain of a 84-year-old heart. So this is really challenging for this young engineer trying to take care of so many things. So instead of me telling you further, she has actually joined us to greet and share some of her real life experience with you in very briefly. Are you here? Get to unmute yourself
Yeah.
and introduce yourself for us.
Yes. என் பேர் ஜெகா சரவணன் or ஜெகதீஸ்வரி சரவணன். நான் அட்லாண்டால இருக்கேன். My husband Saravanan.
We'd
is
like
next.
to hear you in English, Jagat. We have many friends who are not Tamil also.
Okay, I can do English then. So my name is Jega Saravanan. I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. And my husband Saravanan Yoganandam is beside me. So basically 2 years back, I was 170, and as Dr. Anand had said, I had the palpitations and chest pain. Even walking 1 mile would cause heavy chest pain. Along with that, I was actually having diabetes, and I was anemic. So my hemoglobin count went to 7. In spite of all that, I was climbing Yosemite Mountain, so trying to be active as much as possible. But with all these complaints, it was getting hard because day-to-day activities were getting affected, right? So I didn't really, being an engineer, I believed in metrics rather than just saying, okay, reduce weight, everything becomes normal. But I was able to reduce weight in 1 year's time, trying to reduce 25 pounds. But the metrics, the health metrics that really helps, it didn't come down to the extent that I was looking. So that's when, I was following heartfelt life's philosophies, as well as, trying to reduce weight. So both combined helped me. And today I have no diabetics, no palpitations, no chest pain. I walk almost every day 4 miles. And I've lost almost 25 pounds. And yesterday I took my art age, and actually in my 49 years, my art age is 45 now. So I think that all contributes to the high life, their philosophies, and how they preach us and what to follow and how to follow things. Because I believe in no one shirt size fits all. It's customized to each one of us, and how you do it and how you implement makes a huge difference.
Yeah, one thing, this is Saravanan.
Before Saravanan comes, we'll give a big hand to Jagat for turning the clock 40, 50 years already in 2 to 3 years of being in our Heartful Living. Congratulations, Jagat, for inspiring thousands. Today's
Thank
video,
you.
Srikanth Raja will send us, and we'll place it on YouTube so that people can see that they can take more ownership for their life and get better every day. Thank you, Jagat. Hello, Saravana. Please join us. Tell us about you.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. This is Saravanan. I'm Jaga's husband. I'm very happy to be part of this discussion. One thing I wanted to share from my experience is that although Jaga is the patient. She shared the experience from High Life and the advice from Dr. Anand. What I want to share with all of you is the person that is your life partner or someone that's close to you is probably the one that's going to guide you through these situations. And in my own experience, when I talked to Dr. Anand, it was around 10 o'clock in the night, like 2.5 years ago. First time when we identified the problem for Jaga, that really started with the palpitation, as she mentioned, and the anemic conditions and all. So first thing is the advice from Dr. Anand that said, do not take it lightly, right? So that kind of, it was a, it was a sign of, awakening sign for me to take care of my wife the right way. So then we started putting together the plan, the doctor consultations and so on. So that's number one is make sure that, we don't take this for granted, because weight loss, whatever be the course of path that you want to do, right, you have to take it seriously, and also timing of it, right? I just want to highlight that. So I'm so happy that Dr. Anand was able to give us the advice at the right time, during the course of this treatment, and also following the principles of High Life, as Jaga mentioned, which most importantly, her mindset that changed, right? That is the one thing that I really want to attribute to her in this journey, right? I really appreciate that. It's all about how a person thinks differently and makes life changes. Then everything else becomes positive. Thank you very much. I just wanted to share that with everybody here.
Yeah, with High Life, the main thing about High Life is it's not about, it's basically giving us a pathway on how you have to do things, and gives you the guidance. And it's like a long-term commitment. I don't believe in short-term. We lose weight. Okay, I brought all my health metrics, and now next 1 year, I don't want to go back to the state, right? The High Life, what they basically tell us is how you can do it in the long term. And I believe in basically implementing things not in short term, but a long-term vision, because losing weight now or getting our metrics and, in a short term, but we need to continue that. And that's basically what High Life tells us. And that's basically what Dr. Anand was coaching us and giving us a guidance. I've attended many seminars, and that's basically, I took all the inputs and then I customized to how I lead my life and how I have to align it with my lifestyle. And that perfectly works. And today I'm here, and no sugar and no glucose and no palpitations, and I'm healthy, and that's the results. And I've been continuing maintaining it. So I think that should tell you how successful it has been. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anand, and thank you for the organizers for giving us the opportunity.
So nice you could both join us. So when we go back to the slides, are you able to see the slides now? So you heard Jagat's story, and because she has succeeded so amazingly well, we want today, in the presence of all our friends, award Jaga Saravanan Certificate of Achievement and recognize her as a heartful living health and wellness coach. Why don't we give her a big applause again? Thanks, Jagat, for doing what you did, turning your heart from an 80-year-old to a 40-year-old heart. And in your personal journey, you are leaving an amazing legacy for your family and for your friends. And being an engineer, she is sharing our Heartful Living message with so many people in software in Atlanta and all over the country. Now with our friends in Toronto, Mohan Raja, we are actually working on scaling this as a program that anyone, anywhere in the world can participate in Heartful Living and get the benefits of this program. It is called Uvagai. Uvagai means extreme happiness without any logical reasoning. and it can be present all through life. It's a deep state of happiness that comes only when we've already recognized a little bit of self-inquiry, which is how we achieve these successes in our program. So I've requested Jaga to come and present her story in much more detail, and Srikanth Raja will arrange for that sometime in the next few weeks. Once again, thanks Jagat and Saravanan for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Anand. Thank you, everyone.
Dr. Anand. Thank you.
When we talk about inflammation and aging, one thing that people don't realize is how much of a role our mind plays in it. If we can build mental resilience, first of all, this is so basic, liking ourselves, self-compassion, and then our resilience to adapt to changes. Life is full of changes. We have to be able to know where to set the limit, what we can and cannot safely do. We have to be able to communicate well, try something new every time, thinking outside the box. Take everything that comes your way with acceptance. Have an ability to relax and let go, set goals, stay fit, ask for help. That's what friends and family are for. And when we live in a more open and transparent way, life becomes that much more fun, pleasurable, and fulfilling. So this is so important in reducing inflammation and aging. Here I want to show you how normal inflammation works. If there is an infection like COVID or flu or some strep throat, or if we fall down and we scrape our skin or break a bone, whatever it is, inflammation is needed to appropriately bring in the immune system to help our body recover back to normal. So the issue is taken care of and the body gets back to normal. But what happens with increasing age? When we say increasing age, we mean people 90, 100, 110 years of age. Unfortunately, because of poor diet and some genetic variability, increased environmental pollution, work stress, and increased chronic infections, we are seeing all these things increase inflammation at a much younger age. We are seeing inflammation in 47-year-old engineers in Atlanta, to the point that that inflammation makes their heart nearly double the age. And we also see that impaired immune response leads to chronic inflammation and autoimmune disease. And this can also dramatically, how much? 5 times increase the risk for cancer. That is why if we adopt a healthy lifestyle, we can reduce heart attacks by 80%, cancer also 70, 80, 85% we can reduce. Dementia, 80% reduction. So this is the potential for inflammation and early or accelerated aging, how we need to avoid and take care of our health. If you want to understand a little more about how the immune system works, there is an innate immunity. That means our skin is part of the immune system, some basic inflammatory cells, mucous membranes that protect our body from external threats. So this acts as a constant barrier no matter what the infection is. Whereas adaptive immunity means COVID never ever existed in the last 100 million years. This is a brand new problem that is threatening human life. So our body has to develop new adaptive skills. So then the body goes in to fight these infections using specific cells that it develops with antibodies and cytokine response that can fight against a specific new threat. So innate and adaptive, 2 types of immunity are present. And why are we worried about inflammation, aging? The reason is when inflammation and aging accelerate each other, so many other age-related problems are also simultaneously accelerated. The biggest threat for human life, nearly half of all human life is related to atherosclerosis-related death. And several inflammatory markers mediate that. Coronary artery disease, heart problems, frailty, getting weak, having balance issues, All these things are also significantly increased by aging and inflammation. Decline in immune system, type 2 diabetes. Type 1, you would think is majority. 100 years ago, when diabetes was first discovered, 9 out of 10 people had type 1. That is still a rare condition. That means type 2 diabetes was 1/100th of where it is right now. In the last few decades, from less than 1% of the population, type 2 diabetes has grown up 10 times. Now it is 10% of most of the world have diabetes now, compared to only 4 decades ago when 1 or 2% had it. So that is the threat. And cancer, we know how many people are dealing with this, losing lives, osteoporosis, and neurodegenerative issues, Parkinson's, dementia, and other brain conditions that develop with increasing age. So all these things are linked to inflammation going up in the body. So this is the progression. Somebody is 20 years old, now 40, 60, and then 90 years of age. What we are seeing is inflammation is very focused in the beginning. And as people become middle-aged, there is immunoinflammaging and immunosenescence. That means immunity becomes subdued, but at the same time, it is having to become more and more aging-related challenges, which causes age-related diseases to increase, which should start at, say, 80. It instead starts at, unfortunately, 30 and 40 years of age, if we don't take care of inflammation at a young age. There is a threat that those who survived the COVID pandemic, we already know in the first 1 year, their heart electrical activity problems, heart attacks, and atrial fibrillation and heart failure, they're all doubling for the first 1 year, even after recovering from the COVID. So that is likely mediated through abnormal immunity. And long-term challenges are also there. So we define inflammaging as age-related chronic inflammation and low-grade chronic sterile inflammation that is usually related to increased age. And this is in the absence of acute infection. If there is an acute infection, we can hope for the inflammation to come down with antibiotics. But when there is no infection going on in the body, the inflammation is accelerating aging. And if we look at this, these are the experimental agents: angiotensin receptor blockers, metformin is for diabetes, fish oil, probiotics, resveratrol, which is present in wine, and vitamin D. All these things may reduce from baseline inflammation. So this is being looked at as a way of reducing inflammation and thereby increasing aging process. But none of this has been shown, none of these medicines have been shown to improve longevity, improve survival in people who are facing these conditions. So this is a very, very interesting study. They looked at several blood tests and biomarkers for blood aging clock. So we have genetic tools that look at the saliva or blood and tell us exactly how old our genes are. The genes start getting older from day 1 of our birth. So this is able to accurately predict our biological age. So that oftentimes, unfortunately, is 5 to 10 to sometimes 15 years more we are aged than the passport or driver's license, which is chronological age. So if the biological age is increased, they are seeing what are the factors that do that. And they are showing us that psychological stress ends up accelerating aging. How much does it accelerate? That is the scary part. Now we are comparing, men end up aging faster until menopause. Being in the rural setting ends up adding more stress. Never being married is a stress. Smoking is a much bigger stress. People lose extra 1 year of their life by smoking. Is there something else that people lose nearly 2 years of their life? Just one factor, it is the mind. This is a bigger factor than all the other socio-economic and demographic factors, including cigarette. I'm not saying I'm not asking people to take up cigarettes. No, what I'm saying is giving up cigarette is important. If we can cut back on mental stress, it is even more important. So how did they measure this mental stress in this study? People who are not, the way to look at this is, people who are focused are not aging. People who are depressed are aging faster. People who are rarely hopeful, they are also aging faster. People who are fearful, who are rarely fearful, means they are optimistic, they are actually aging lesser. So if you are fearing things in life, we'll age faster. If we are not fearing things, we'll not age. Restless sleep is rare. So the way they're questioning is, that means they are sleeping good. That means they're not aging. So many times people are having restless sleep, which means they are accelerating their aging process. So this is so important. Sleep has so many things: number of hours, the quality, how rested we are in the morning. And people who rarely feel happy, they are aging very, very fast. Okay? So these are the important factors. So to reduce aging, we should not be depressed. We should be focused. What is this focused? I keep coming back to that because I find that very, very interesting. And that is something we can change much before we can change all these other things. And that is the ability to connect with what we are doing wholeheartedly. It can be called flow or losing track of time and engaging in what we do. It was described 50 years ago for playing tennis or writing music like A.R. Rahman or Ilayaraja or Beethoven. But we don't need to become tennis players or music writers. If we engage in whatever we are doing wholeheartedly, that gives us the opportunity to be in flow. So this flow experience can occur in old age also. And this study very recently looked at investigation of influencing factors and therapy benefits for specifically people dealing with age-related problems. And the results show that flow experience is possible at any age. So this, I think, is where we have seen so much improvement in heart age, in mental resilience, and in our Heartful Living programs, how we are able to help heart failure patients get so much of their health back. I'll leave you with this thought. This is a study from Australia. What they are telling us is, when there is extra weight in the body, compared to age and weight of normal people, how much faster they are losing their lives. So if the worst loss is for, it doesn't matter if you are a woman or a male. Say, for instance, we'll take a man who is only about, say, 20 years of age or 29 years of age. But if he is severely obese, his BMI is more than 35, he is already losing 10 to 11 years. So it's a huge amount of years lost. And this is because of inflammation and aging that start at a much, much accelerated pace and takes life sooner. So if the person is, say, 65 years of age and still dealing with severe obesity, he is still going to lose at that point, compared to others of that same age, close to 5 years. So there is a lot of health that we are losing. Now you may ask, a little bit of obesity, there is also some loss, but not 10 years, it's only 8 years. What about little overweight? There are so many studies saying obesity paradox, metabolically healthy obesity, but all that is different data splicing methods. But if you look at the longitudinal human data, human beings, any amount of extra weight we carry, we are increasing inflammation, we are increasing our aging process at a much faster clip. That is why even if a 69-year-old who has extra weight in the body, if they're able to lose it, they are going to live longer. They are going to save 1 or 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road. So this works at any age. And you may ask, why has the math not been done at 80 and 90 years? It's just that these studies, they need so many volunteers to do these studies, and they might not have had enough data to report here. The trend is the same. At any age, we can get healthier. So this is the last story I want to share with you. These type of graphs I bring to you pretty often. This patient's graph started in 2008, 2012, when his weight was 185 kilograms. This is all kilograms. Body weight of 180 is high for anybody. But then in 2012, he didn't stop there. He went to gain some more weight. And at the end of the day, he was 240 kilograms. And this was 2 years ago. And he attended our Heartful Living program virtually. He felt like a 70-year-old, although he's only 43. If we had done this heart age calculation, this would have been maybe 100 years. But then his heart was also weak. So we cannot even apply these health calculators that you heard Jaga Saravanan from Atlanta present. That calculator we cannot apply when the heart squeeze itself is down. It was 25% for him. So his risk for losing his life was extremely high. His pressure in the lungs had gone up. For that, we don't have any effective treatments. And then when he did Heartful Living, his weight started coming down so fast. And within a year, he lost more than 55% of his weight. And now in March, he reports feeling like a 16-year-old. I asked him, how can you feel like a 16-year-old? When he told me, doctor, by the time I was 20, I was way too heavy. Now I'm much lighter than I was at the age of 20. Maybe that is contributing to how young I feel. But at the same time, his heart function also from 25 went up to completely normal levels. And the pressure in the lungs got better. So everything got so healthy for him within 1 year of being in our Heartful Living healing methods. So these are the social determinants of health. What this means is our health, only 20% is with the pills and balloons and surgeries we can do, helicopter, 911, whatever we do. 80% of our health remains in the hands of the individual and our genes and our society, our community. So when Jaga is feeling 40 years younger, her husband Saravanan definitely played a huge role in this. So like that, in our program for the last 15 years, Heartful Living has always requested, inspired, incentivized in any way possible for a spouse or a good friend or a child or a grandchild to help my patients get on the path of self-inquiry. So when we talk about neglect as childhood or stress psychologically, disabilities and lack of meaning, low income, few opportunities to grow financially and in career, and work stress, gender inequality, so many reasons, culturally being marginalized, homelessness, lack of access to healthcare, all these things contribute to the overall outcome of an individual's health. So in cardiology, when we are taking care of a heart failure patient, cardiologists are comfortable with the medical aspects, but we are not good in physical therapy or fitness or functional activities, ability to take care of themselves, moving, fall risk and things like that. And cardiologists are definitely not trained or comfortable managing the mind and emotions and stress and attitudes and mood and depression. All these things we are not trained, and we don't have the tools to manage. What about social and environmental issues? Obviously, doctors, this is all well beyond our scope of connecting with patients' families, the socioeconomic issues, physical environment, health literacy. These things we just don't have the bandwidth to even explore as a clinician. We are busy taking care of lives, say, taking care of blood pressure and heart failure and heart attacks. That's all we can focus on, which is this medical column. And this gentleman is the one you saw. When he was 240 pounds, Charmaine Ganaway had the medical problems of weak heart, heart failure, hypertension, sleep apnea, pulmonary hypertension. All these are medical. But then functionally, he would be short of breath just sitting around. He would be lightheaded half the time. If he falls down, he could not get up from the floor at his home. So that was a huge fear for him at the age of 41. And emotionally, he was lonely, divorced, anxious. He felt like a 70-year-old because he was not fit to do activities of what others would do at that age of 40. And then he was genuinely fearing death. And economically, he had lost his job. Financially, he was insecure. Healthcare bills were growing. There were so many tests he was required to do, but he couldn't afford them. And he even skipped his best friend's wedding. He was the best man, but said, I don't have a wheelchair. So if I drive up to the church, I have to walk up to the couple. I couldn't confidently do that. So I told them, I'm just not going to make it. I just fell down. I'm going to stay at home. So he didn't make it to his best friend's wedding at the age of 41. He was at home alone, and you can sense how bad his life he felt. So this is the type of people who take up our heartful living methods. He's one end of the extreme. I mean, it's not like everybody who comes to us is this many issues, but he took our program to heart and he ran with it, and he showed that all these things he can get better. See, all these diagnoses we have erased from his list. His heart function is 55, which is normal. Blood pressure is better. His sleep apnea is gone. His lung pressures are normalized. Now he has plenty of friends. He's feeling like a 16-year-old. He works out in the gym for hours and he's walking 4 miles every day. He started full-time work again. He has discontinued all medicines completely. And he's connecting with himself genuinely and with his family. And I asked him, in a scale of uvagai, the uvagai is the extreme happiness. How happy are you? 1 is the least amount of energy, enthusiasm, and uvagai. 10 is the highest you can imagine. Beyond that, you've never experienced in your life. Now, how do you grade your uvagai? Would people like to put something in the chat box? In a scale of 1 to 10, he was at a 1 when he was 41 years of age. Now, where is he? I'd like some answers in the chat box before I tell you his actual answer, and that's the last slide I have. This question I asked him only yesterday. I called him on the phone and asked him, Shaman, how do you score in your uvagai? Somebody said 10 out of 10, but he's still a heart patient. He's doing a lot, but okay, 10 is, in a scale of 1 to 10, he has scored 10 now. Excellent. Marilyn is saying, I'm 81 and I'm 100 plus in my happiness. Excellent, Marilyn. Srikanth Raja gives 6. From 1 to 6 itself is a very welcome thing. I'm asking you, how much happiness can this program cause? Because 1 or 2 more answers I need before I tell you his answer. Can you type in 1 or 2 more people? In a scale of 1 to 10, how much can this person 2 years later tell us?
My answer
8.
is 8. Yeah.
8. 1 more answer? 9. Okay, now I'll put in my answer. I'm going to type it in. I'm so proud of Charmaine. This is his answer. In a scale of 1 to 10, Doc, I'm feeling like a 13. And now you're going to see why he's reporting feeling like a 16-year-old, feeling as happy as a 13 in a scale of 1 to 10. This is the true measure of uvagai that we want to take to the world. So the world is at, you can see the world's average here. After the pandemic, world has become less happy place to live in, but still the happiest country ends up being Finland, then Denmark, then Iceland. 4th is Switzerland. US comes at number 16. Canada is number 15. India, unfortunately, is 120 or something like that. People in India are not happy. Okay? And that would be at around 4.5 something. But average happiness in the happiest country is 7. Whereas our heart patient, being so close to his death 2 years ago, is now at a 13. So if he can get to 13, the message is the entire world can get to 13, and then the politicians will follow. To keep up with us, they will do the right things. So we can inspire the world, we can inspire our political systems all over the world when we make this internal change, when we find uvagai for ourselves. And this is the same Charmaine Ganaway that I want you to meet today. Thanks so much, Srikanth Raja, for inviting us and allowing us to share our amazing stories of inflammation, aging, mind, heart, uvagai, everything that we are doing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chockalingam, and for excellent information regarding how the inflammation accelerates aging. So that is first you have showed us, and thank you for Jagat Saravanan. So telling about her personal journey, about how she became now she's become with no heart failure, and she's doing very well. Thank you for that as well. And I would like to ask how Jagat now, how did she, what did she do? How did she control her diet, or how she, I wanted to speak to her whether she can give us more information. How did she do that?
Srikanth Raja has agreed to give her a full session. So in the next few weeks, she's going to come to you with her own full experience of heartful living, and she'll do a full formal presentation. But Jagat, if you're still here, please, you can share some thoughts.
So was she doing a diet or intermittent fasting? How did she lose her weight?
I think she's still here, but she has gone off mic. Jagat, are you still here? She might come back.
Yeah, she's
If she
not
doesn't
there.
come back, I'll tell you what she's doing. Some other
Thank you.
questions?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Can I
Okay,
go?
Dr. Navaratnam from
Yes.
from
Thank you.
Essex. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Chockalingam. I enjoyed your talk, particularly about inflammation. I'm a rheumatologist. I've been a rheumatologist for 54 years in this country. And we believe that inflammation is the basis for a large number of illnesses in the body. And you have explained it in a nice way. And the inflammation, I was not sure whether inflammation was the cause of cancer, but today you have elicited that. Here again, we all have to control our mind. And I agree that mind has a lot to play in our well-being. And meditation and this practice of self-control is very essential. I just want to ask you, Dr. Chockalingam, there was a Chockalingam, was a cardiologist in Chennai. Are you a relation of his?
Son.
I'm a son.
All right. I have met Dr. Chockalingam in Chennai. He used to visit Chennai a lot, every year for 35 years during the December season. And I had lots of good friends, including AVM family. Dr. Chockalingam used to come to see, the family used to go to see Dr. Chockalingam, and I have met him as well. I'm glad to see you, son, in America now. And then Saravanan again. Saravanan was one of the sons of AVM. Yeah, I don't know whether this lady is in any way connected to that Saravanan. That's another link. But on the whole, I enjoyed your speech. I think you have a lot to offer. And in America, if you are doing this, it's very great. Great. America is a country where people are materialistic, but we are spending a lot of time in spiritual venture. Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
Dr.
nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you very much. And next is poet Ken Kuganesan from Cheap, England.
Thank you very much. Article, Doctor. I just want to ask, because the time factor, I want to ask quickly a couple of questions. One, when we achieve, say, 10 score of Uvagai, do you think the medication wouldn't play a part on it?
So we are not in a race with anything. I'm a Western trained doctor. I'm a cardiologist. So I give all the evidence-based medicines to all my heart patients. And then I also give this opportunity for them to try this, you can call optimism, positive psychology. All these are different words to mean the same thing. How to inspire the subconscious or intuitive intelligence. So when we engage that, some people run with it, like Marilyn Lake. She's going to come and give us a full session. Now Jagat is back, so she's done this too. So she can answer the questions that were asked to her once I'm done. So bottom line is, we do this along with the Western medicines and procedures. And when people do so well sometimes with self-inquiry, then they come back and say, Doc, my pressure is low. That means I have to take off the blood pressure medicines. Doctor, my blood sugar is low. That means I have to stop the diabetes medicines. So like that, if they don't need those medicines anymore, all the Western doctors will stop medicines if the patient does not need it. Nobody gives medicines just for the sake of giving it. So in that way, many people in our program have come off 30, 35 medicines. At the end, they're left with one or two. They're two, like aspirin or low dose statin, I may keep because they had 2 or 3 heart attacks in the past. So I may keep them on a little bit of some medicines which evidence says may prevent future attacks. But then we have so many stories, but only opportunities like today present, where Jagat was able to join us and she did the math and retrospectively calculated her heart age using the Framingham validated New York heart age calculator and told us her heart age was 84, now it's 45. So like that, formal calculations we have not been doing routinely. And when we do these things, now she's not going to need any medicines all life long. She's too healthy. And the next 5 years, when she comes back and talks to us, she'll report her heart age to be 38 maybe. We don't know. See, I can only show the path. How far people journey is God's grace and their intention and their intuition and their spirit. So that is beyond my imagination now. Same thing with Marilyn Lake. She is going to show you her story next few weeks. Next Sunday, right, Marilyn?
20th, yeah.
May 20th.
May 20th?
Yeah.
May
Okay.
20th. I believe it
I
is.
thought it is next week. Excellent. She'll come and
It's
share
a
how
month.
she's not needing most of her medicines that she's needed for 20, 30 years. So all these things, we are not opposed to it. It's not like some people think Anand Chockalingam tries to take you off your medicines. No. I am fine with medicines that are needed. But then when people do well with themselves, it's like side wheels. We have side wheels because we are learning to bicycle. Once you learn well, you don't need the side wheels. They in fact become a hindrance. Like that, many people don't need their medicines. So they talk to their own doctors wherever they are. So Jagat Saravanan is in Atlanta. She's an engineer. I'm not a cardiologist. I'm only a wellness guide. So I cannot
my
take off.
cardiologist was a Tamil person. My cardiologist is a Tamil person. And I started High Life is only because they said I have to go on medication for the heart. So I said, hold off, let me figure out a way to get away from medicine before I start. So now I never got into medicine. And even even for diabetics, everything, I don't take any medication, over the counter vitamins, that's it. No medication at all for me now.
So excuse me, how do you reduce your weight and diabetic and everything?
So basically, it's all about food control, right? One of the High Life prescriptions or what they recommend is you eat only when you feel hungry, or in fact, hold off your hunger a little more longer, right? So that was what I followed. So typically what I do is 3 times a day, I don't eat. I basically reduced it. And when I start feeling hungry, I prolong it a little more and then consume food. So kind of that, I made that as a routine. And based on, since I'm in IT and mine is operations, that I head the operations team, my work is I cannot afford to miss my lunch. So I eat everything and anything at lunch. But my dinner, I kind of reduce it really less, like just be on fruits or something, so that it triggers the hunger. I prolong the hunger, as Dr. Anand was explaining to me earlier about ketosis and all. So basically it's like you have a bowl with all, this is how I did my research and this is what I followed, right? In a bowl, when you have all these, a bowl of rice, just take a bowl of rice, right? So if your body is consuming and you keep adding it, it's only going to take what is already you keep adding. But once you don't feed the bowl, then it's going to take what is in the bowl. So that is how I started losing the weight, is basically I prolonged the hunger. So that way it started consuming what is already stored. And then that alone didn't help, right? It's also about motivation. So that's, this high life, that's what they say. That is why I believed in high life, is because they don't give a short-term plan. So for me, as I said, numbers, right? So I had a motivation, I had a goal. There was a gratitude. Why? Because once when you see that I had all this, I was like thinking, okay, I have my parents, I have my husband, I have my kids. Who's going to take care of them? That is my motivation, right? At 47, what am I doing? Why am I at this state? But believe me, now, I never used to talk about age, but now, the age calculator says 45, but I feel my real heart age is 35. So in fact, that's how I started behaving. And in fact, my friends, everyone who's known me after marriage, they're like, who is she? You behave very differently. I said, this is who I was before my marriage. And after marriage, we had all these responsibilities. But now I think it's time for me to go back to who I was or who I am. So that is what it is. So when all my friends at my age come and say, oh, Jagat, we're getting older, I'm like, what makes you think you're older? Older is just a number. It's all about what you think and how you do. And that's what high life gives you. And that helps because that seems to align with my thinking.
So Jagat, in that
Did you do
Uvagai
any-
scale of 1 to 10, what is your score now?
Sorry, what was the question, doctor?
Energy, enthusiasm, happiness, fulfillment, Uvagai, we call it, right?
Okay.
In Uvagai, if you had to grade your Uvagai from 1 being the lowest that you can imagine to 10 being the highest that you could have imagined, how much is your Uvagai today?
So 2 years back, I would say I was on the border of 5, 50-50. But now I would really go between 8 to 10, right? And people, believe me, they're not able to handle the hyper that I'm going along. And I don't drink coffee, and they say you have enough caffeine already, please don't touch it. So, and the memory and everything, right? You gain back. And the other thing, right, as females, we also look at the confidence. When your body feels fit, your mind feels fit, which means you build that confidence, nothing like that.
So did he do any exercises or except food?
I do hiking. See, that's the other thing, right? So along with this, it brought me the energy, and I love to hike. I'm more athletic person, but I couldn't really do even 1 mile or walk. I have a dog also, so taking him out 1 mile, I'll start having chest pain. But now I do almost every day or every other day, 3 to 4 miles of walking. On the weekends, now that, I gain back the energy, becoming an empty nester, you also need to find time to spend with your husband. I basically, we both now go out on weekends, hiking, and, with Dr. Anand also gives all those recommendations, right? So we do all of those things now. You have the energy to do all that. So kind of you also gain back your life.
What about drink your water amount? Did you reduce or less? What about water do you drink? Can you tell us about water? How many liter per day we'll have to drink or something like that? You strict about water?
Oh, water. Water is actually, if you see, I have to, believe me, I'm a very bad with drinking water. But now when I did the research, I was told that, yes, when you get hungry, start drinking water as supplement. But again, anything over is also not good for health, right? So that I'm a very bad person to give you an advice, but I try to at least drink 4 to 5 glasses of water in a day. So, and also I bought Fitbit. So because with IT, right, we sit at a desk. So I have this Fitbit just to tell me, every hour or every other hour, it tells me you need to walk at least 250 steps. So what I do is to take the restroom, I take the whole floor walking around, talking to everyone, come back to my desk is like, make that 300 steps. So I found ways to keep myself motivated to do things and not like, forced. When anyone forces me, you can never get me to do anything. It should be inner feeling and something to motivate. So I found what is motivating me and what fits my style and implemented it.
Thank you.
Jagat, you must increase your water to at least 10 glasses every day.
See, I
That
told
too, when
you.
you're
I
doing
knew he's
the
going to
way
come
we
to me
want you
on
to
that.
do, you will find that your health is even better.
Yeah, I noticed that doctor actually told me that earlier. So now I'm consciously increasing. I'm a person who doesn't do it overnight, but I put an effort to get it there. So eventually by next time I meet him, I'll have myself there.
Even the warm water is better than the cold water, right, Dr. Anand?
So yeah, so I read about that also, doctor. So what I did is morning, I take this kettle, turn it on and have my black tea with hot water. That's how I start my day. Rather than thinking just hot water, I add the tea. So that's how. So I try to do mix of both. Cannot convert myself completely to warm water. And especially with the US lifestyle, it's hard. I don't like to go to the restaurant to ask for warm water, right? But I try to adapt that as much as possible.
There are some people who like cold water. Very cold iced water is not that great. Room temperature may be fine. Warm water may also be okay. It depends on the individual. And some people, when they are fasting, they like warm water. Different variabilities are there. So as far as temperature of water, has there been any proper studies? No. So that you find what works for you, especially for me when I come home from fasting and playing tennis and all that. Cold water, room temperature water is all that I have, and it works out fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kokonasan, do you want to ask any questions, Kokonasan?
Yeah, I mean, actually track a lot. I'll quickly ask this bit of a maths question. Not even maths now in the, you were talking about, example being an overweight, you will lose 2 years in life. When you say you're talking about the average age of the life expectancy of what?
Yes.
2 years from when?
We know from gastric bypass literature that if you do gastric bypass to lose weight, you can add back years. So people lose about 10 years of their life if they are very heavy. Of that, 5 years you can regain if you do the gastric bypass very young, when you're in your 20s, 30s, maybe in your 40s. So that's the data where it comes from. But this Australian study looked prospectively and said that people are losing life when they retain extra weight. So if we can fix it in the 20s, best. But throughout life, we still have the chance to regain more number of years by getting away from the excess weight. And until Marilyn Lake came to me about a year or so ago, I didn't even think, as a cardiologist who's working in this particular area, I've been working in this area for 20 years. Even I did not think that it is possible above the age of 60, 70 to lose 5-10% of the weight. Whereas she came and said, doctor, with heartful living, I can lose 25-30% of my weight and my heart failure can get cured. We don't need 1,000 people to prove a point. We need one person who can clearly, scientifically show it. And she has shown it. She herself is a PhD. She's going to bring her own slides, just like Jaga. These are all some amazing, inspiring stories that are helping us take this to the world. There is only so much one-on-one interaction we need to do. We want the help of Marilyn. We want the help of Jagat. I don't know if Mohan wants to say hello to our group and tell us what he is envisioning for scaling this heartful living. I've been doing this for now 15 years, formally since 2015. We've been doing clinics in the VA and at the university, helping patients one-on-one with their spouses. Mohan, would you want to say something about what you're planning? Are you still with us?
Yes.
Can you come on video and talk?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
So
Can you guys see me okay?
Yes. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So Dr. Anand has been doing this amazing work, and I personally myself and my family has benefited from it. And I've asked him how he's taking this to the world, and he's kind of still working with Missouri and some of his friends outside. And I said, I will help him take this to the world. So we are in the process of building, taking his lessons and bringing some coaches like Jagada and few coaches, and then start building around his teaching, so that even when he's not available for everybody, we can still spread this his teaching and all the practices to people around the world, so we can save lives.
Thank you, Dr. Mohanis Nadrajan. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your information. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Dr.Satha Mano. Thank you.
Greetings to all. First, I was surprised when I saw this title. I was wondering what this title is going to bring today. Anyway, thanks so much for Yoga Saravanan for sharing her experience, and that's good explanation, and her own experience is very good. And I have listened to several of your talks, so I know about the high life, what you do mainly, and you really do a good service to the community as a whole when I think about it, because you are not pumping tablets or medication. You are not prescribing just straight away, do this, do that, and take these tablets. You are trying your best to educate them on aspect of healthy eating habits and exercise, and do all these other chores in order to achieve what they can do without meditation much, medication kind of thing. So it is very interesting anyway. I have listened to all the talk. I have listened to Marilyn in the past as well. And I have heard a few other of your patients, successful patients. It's very good actually, very inspiring talk. And it will take time for everyone to understand what you are doing actually. But you are doing a great service. That's what I wanted to share. It's very good one to do.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for your encouragement.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is our President of the Australian Tamil Seniors Association, Mr. Panjachanam. Thank you.
Everybody. Thank you, Dr. Chockalingam, for your great speech. Just one question. The symptom of inflammation, I am not a medical person. The symptom of inflammation, I found one or two in your slides. More information was there. Within the short time, I could not grab all the facts you have shown to us. Can you tell us what are the symptoms of I can see one or two, but not the whole symptom of inflammation.
You are joining us from where, sir?
Australia.
Australia? Which part?
Sydney.
I'm in Sydney, yes. Over.
I visited Sydney once about 22 years ago.
Oh, good.
New Zealand I went then, and then recently again went back. New Zealand is somewhere I would love to retire.
You said
Sydney is so beautiful, so I'd love to visit Sydney when I retire in New Zealand. I don't know when it is going to happen, but I'm so happy
when
to
you
meet
come
you
next,
today.
please.
I hate flight travel, but I enjoy meeting people. And today I feel because of you, I'm in Australia, Sydney. The question, I did not show a single answer to your question. What are the symptoms of inflammation? Why did I not show a single slide? Symptom means what we feel. Sign means what the doctor is able to elicit with a stethoscope or something like that. Inflammation oftentimes is silent, just like blood pressure. Unless you take a blood pressure cuff and measure your blood pressure, you don't know what it is. Inflammation, you need to do some blood test to see how much inflammation there is. It is like the engine heat. If the car is not running, first thing in the morning, it's going to be cool. You can just lean on the car. But after a 10-hour drive, If you open the hood and touch the engine, it's going to be so hot, it'll burn your fingers. You don't know until you touch it, right? So unless you do the blood test, you will not know how much inflammation there is going on in the body. So we need to do the blood test. Now the question is, did the chicken or the egg? Did the inflammation accelerate the aging and the heart disease and cancer and other things? Or because of some other factors which we yet haven't identified, is this also one of the symptoms of what is anyway happening? Aging accelerates because of something that we might not yet have identified. Whatever we identified, it's called dementia, atherosclerosis, heart attack, cancer, diabetes, and inflammation. So could inflammation be one of the results of some other process going on? We don't know. We haven't figured out everything. But inflammation seems to be playing a part of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you would like to know how much inflammation there is in the body, the easiest way is to measure high sensitivity C-reactive protein. It's a simple blood test available all over the world. HS-CRP, and it will tell you how much inflammation there is. And people are finding that with increasing age, we are seeing more higher levels of this inflammation, even when there is no infection. So they are saying they are all connected, and we need to work on it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Dr. Shanti Parmeswaran from New Malden, England.
Greetings to all, particularly to Anand Chockalingam. It is nice to see you again. I listened to your earlier speech, and it's again the same high standard that you always maintain. So thank you very much. What I took away from today's talk was two things. That is the importance of connecting with self and family. And the other thing, of course, and meditation does help me and certainly helps all to be able to focus on whatever you're doing at the moment. And that too, you mentioned, so I was very happy to hear that. And I think two questions come to mind. One was Mrs. Arundhati Sriskandaraja did ask, you can come and maintain that, come down to what you want. Like that person said, he got 13 out of 10. I'm sorry, I said 11 out of 10. So he got 13 out of 10. Right. But once you come to that point, I think Mrs. Sriskandaraja asked the important question is, how do you maintain it? To maintain that, I think your lady did touch upon it. And I think that is very important, the maintenance. And I think they said about whether she is drinking only 3 glasses of water. I'm sure if she drinks 10 glasses of water, her score, she said 8 out of 10. Anand, she will go to 15 out of 10 if she drinks 10 glasses of water, I'm sure. The other thing I was wondering is, as doctors, I think when we stop medication, we will be able to measure our blood pressure, go and see the doctor, and make sure that we are at the steady level again. I just wondered whether people who don't have the medical background, when they stop the medication, whether they will be able still to have the basic blood test done so that they know they're still maintaining their good standard of living and their good health. And I think the other thing, of course, always come to mind is we can live that life, but around us, the environmental pollution, the other factors still impact on us and what would I say, increases our inflammation in some way or other, so that the disease process will happen whether we like it or not. But having your motivation, and I think as I said, the message I take is connecting with self and being very positive will give you the extreme happiness, which will keep most of the illnesses at bay. Again, thank you very much. I can't say how glad I was here to hear you speak again. Do come again, and I would like to know more about the inflammatory markers and whether we can reduce whatever that's going on within our body. But age is only a number, but aging process is a different issue. Thank you again, very much again.
Thanks
Mr.
so much for
Chockalingam.
those amazing comments and encouraging words. If I have to answer to anything particular in what your comments were, I think you were asking about, why don't you tell us if there's any particular question you want me to address? You touched upon 5, 6 important concepts.
I
Is there
think
any
the most
particular question for
important
me?
thing was, as medical personnel, we would be able to measure our blood pressure and do the blood test so
Yes.
that even if we stop medication, we know
Yes.
that we still are in keeping in good health.
Let me
And
tell
there
you
are
the
certain
right
other
chronology to
factors.
do that. So my suggestion would be, first of all, today morning I had 2 hours meeting with some amazing people who do this for the last 50 years at a global health scale. One is Professor Chockalingam, who's conducting the 3rd Global Chronic Disease Conference in Toronto in June. So Mohan, who's building this Uvagai platform to scale health to the world, and Arun Chockalingam, who's been in public health space for the last 45 years, one of the best minds in the world, we discussed. And what we get to think at the end of the day is, if people are motivated, like Jagat did not want to be on medicines. Marilyn had gone to 3 cardiologists and they had not fixed her trouble breathing. So if Marilyn is motivated by trouble breathing, or Jagat is motivated by, I don't want to be on these pills these doctors are forcing me to take, some deep motivation to make change, then heartful living makes sense. But for others, see, in today's meeting, we have 100 people right now. People are here because they are in self-inquiry. That is what this meditation program is, world peace. So that's not like everybody is going to be here. It's only those 100 people who are genuinely believing it that are here. So if I want to get anything across to you, it is so easy because you're already motivated towards introspection, self-inquiry. That's what you're doing anyway. Mohan, what he's trying to do is take this program that has been doing wonders for heart patients. He wants to take it to the world and see how many otherwise active, healthy people are thinking they are healthy, how many of them will take their health deeper into consideration and make a change. So that change is what he is trying to build. So maybe in 2-3 months, once he has tried this in a few hundred people, he'll come back and tell us how much success we can hope for in the next 2-3 years, which is where we should really make a difference. But the short answer to your question is, please don't stop any medicine. You start smiling 20 times an hour. And when you're
I
smiling
think we
like that,
do the laughter therapy. I think that is a very good thing. And again, the same message to you, Dr. Chockalingam, be positive. You will end up living in Australia or New Zealand and be extremely happy.
I still haven't finished answering that question. Let me take one more second. So don't stop your medicines yet. Start smiling and become friends with water. And on the other hand, become friends with being a little hungry. And then you tell your doctor, wherever you are, that you are in heartful living because I'm smiling and I'm loving my water and I can be a little hungry. So I'm moving in this direction. So let them measure your numbers. Let them check your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your weight, and your inflammatory markers. And then if they are in the right direction, your doctors themselves will stop your medicines. That's the safest way to do it. Make sense?
Thanks. Funny you should say that. I just had my blood test and going to see the doctor next Monday. Thank you.
You keep us updated.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The next is Dr. Dr.Satha from Ilford, East London. Thank you very much.
Greetings to everyone. Quite an eye-opener, I must say, Dr. Chockalingam. Thanks a lot. But I must also say these as well. I mean, the stress, I mean, having the people tend to move to urban life now, isn't it? So breaking away from extended family, and then urban life brings pollution. We all know we will open up the lungs, where all the carbon sediments in the lungs, and also, you know, chronic lung disease, also inflammation. I lost a close friend of mine from mesothelioma or something, which is again the lining of the lung. So he doesn't smoke or is exposed to asbestos. So in fact, as I said, he's a GP anyway, was a GP, sorry. So another thing, the stress itself, the work, work is therapeutic, we all know, but if the work is stressful, then you're into trouble, because a lot of people after retirement, they often get bumped off, they die, because unless, of course, they structure the retirement. If they're just idle and they stay at home, I'm sure very many of you would have come across them. So that is another thing. And then lastly, I mean, as a cardiologist, of course, your focus was on heart or cardiovascular condition. But I thought the commonest inflammatory disease is bowel, inflammatory bowel disease. Then often is called psychosomatic in origin. And also the autoimmune diseases, which affects not with age, it's not related to age. Autoimmune diseases affect younger or middle age. And there's a theory that autoimmune disease are sometimes caused due to a post-viral effect. The virus lives with some antibodies, or the exposure to that antigen triggers, that's a theory. I mean, I'm not sure how much it applies to all. So there's more to inflammation beyond aging, but that doesn't mean, I'm not saying this in a negative way, but these are also facts to bear in mind. So following your advice certainly would help. And thank you very much for that.
Very valuable points, sir. Thanks so much. And I feel even aging, people are considering it as a disease, just like neurodegenerative disease or diabetes or heart attack. They're saying aging itself is a disease. We need to prevent aging. But now WHO is not recognizing that. They're saying aging is a natural process, but accelerated aging we want to avoid. And healthy aging is something we can move towards by adopting healthy lifestyle. And that's where they are studying these pills and some other gene modifications. They've identified already 500 genes that are implicated in aging. I asked the head of Buck Aging Institute what he feels is the scope for this in the next 5 years. He said, we want to identify another 500 genes. So at the end of the day, we'll have 1,000 genes in 5 years from now that are contributing to our aging. But I don't know how many pills we can take and what interventions they are going to come up with. But what we have known in ancient wisdom and in practical sciences in various fields we have put together in our programming so that people can take it on themselves to do what works for them. Like Jaga again and again says, I won't follow anybody's advice. I will do only if it makes sense to me. Like that, we want it to be precise for you and your life. And again, you can tailor it depending on changing environment, changing life situations, so that you keep doing the best possible and effortlessly. If you don't have to put in effort now, then it will be so sustainable. That's why we want to keep this Heartful Living program as effortless as possible. And for that, we use the intuitive inner mind. And we feel we can do so much at the individual level.
People must move away from this belief that's a pill for every ill, they say. People often have to forget that.
And the belief is not something people came about. That is where the marketing is. There is so much vested interest in trying to promote their pills. And who is going to promote you drinking tap water? It's not the city who's going to promote tap water, right? Being hungry means what? It's a very
old song. It's a very old song from a comedy actor.
Yeah, so there's nobody promoting our health directly. People are interested in selling something to us. So if there is nothing to sell, then it's not easy to make a business out of it.
There's a very old song your dad might know, a comedy actor called N.S. Krishnan. He sang Kudichi Palahanam. He didn't refer to alcohol. He said drinks, and he said if nothing is there, niraharam, water. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Dr. Jagannathan. Now, next is Mr. Sivakumar Mariyappan.
Sir, good evening, everyone. Sir, it is a kind of amazing event. So it is I'm basically an engineer. Right? It gives me a lot of awareness about the health. Thank you so much, sir, for all your inputs and information, sir. And I'm curious to understand. I'm curious to understand about this art of living, and you were also mentioning about that pure Tamil word. Yeah. If you can help me out giving more information, how do we go? How do we get in, and how do we start following, and what is that we need to do to do follow this stuff, please, if you don't mind. Or attend
Very,
some
very
programs.
straightforward. And Mohan is here. Luckily, he can guide you.
Oh, great.
And he might put something in this group, maybe his contact information. And then we want the entire world to be certified. Marilyn was the first person we certified in Heartful Living, not because she finished 8 weeks course, not because she just lost her weight, but because she reversed her heart failure. She's the first person in the world to do that. And more than that, not even all these things, the key deal is becoming so confident in Heartful Living that your only future is by sharing it with your children, friends, family out of love. So that is what makes someone a Heartful Living coach. And today, Jagat has got that certification in our group. So Sivakumar would be the next one that we are hoping will want to spread the simple ways of living to the whole world.
Oh, thank you, sir. I'm quite
and he has
interested.
just put in his contact information. You can write it down, talk to him. And through you, we want to reach 100 people. And my hope is the entire world is in this way. At that point, Mohan and me, we don't need to do this as a, what should I say, online virtual program. We want everybody to learn this, just like we all know to walk, right? We all know to talk. Like that, we want this to be such a basic aspect of life that it doesn't need more scientific validation. It just needs us to try, and if it works, we'll live it. And like Jagat says, her way may be so different from Marilyn's, but still the journey is the same. So glad you want to do this with us, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll keep in touch with Mohan, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Anand Baladasan from Toronto, Canada.
Hi, Dr. Anand. I want to get some information regarding the anti-inflammation food for everybody. We can.
Best food.
Yeah.
Is,
vegetarian.
Because
I'm
most
of us are vegetarian.
Yes, many diets have been tried all over the world. For heart disease, the commonest diet you may hear is DASH diet, dietary approaches to stop hypertension, and Mediterranean diet. Even better than these two diets is plant-based whole food diet. That may be the most ideal diet. And keto diet is not a good diet, okay? Because it used to be called paleo diet, this and that, but it is a lot of fat and a lot of protein, which is inflammatory. So the best diet ends up being plant-based whole food diet. And we have used zero diet. It's not zero Coke, it is zero diet, which is fasting. And it cannot be done for more than a few days, few weeks. Only reason Marilyn and Jagat are doing it for years and feeling so young is because this is not a diet they are following. This is just who they are now. So that happens not as a diet, it happens as a meditation. So that meditation is what we do. Okay, happiness, so if you don't eat anything, there is no inflammation. And the least amount of inflammation ends up being plant-based whole food. So this applies across the board for cancer, for heart disease, for inflammatory bowels, irritable bowels, for asthma, skin conditions. You can name most chronic illnesses. They are all coming under, they are all mediated through inflammation. So this is the most important question. And the answer for 99% of people will be plant-based whole food diet, plus the type of positive psychology that is available now scientifically through what Mohan is building as a scalable program.
Yeah, another question. I have been taking for amlodipine for pressure. After that, I notice I have some inflammation, maybe. My knee joint, it's a little bit inflamed. Yeah, any side effects of amlodipine?
Amlodipine is a very good medicine. It can cause leg edema sometimes. It shouldn't cause arthritis. I don't think I've seen much of that. And there is a good chance we can work.
Knees and swollen ankle, like that?
Swollen ankle, it can cause amlodipine. So you might talk to your doctor, tell them, is this medicine causing it? They can switch other medicines. But check your standing blood pressure, not sitting.
Okay.
3 days, 5 days, 10 days, and put it all in one piece of paper and take it to your doctor. Show them, this is my standing blood pressure. can you switch my medicine, or do I really need this medicine? I started
Yes.
smiling 20 times every hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I started meditation. We'll see.
20 smiles is
Thank you.
3 times more powerful than amlodipine.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Yogi Nagendran Master from Reading, England.
Greetings to you all. Dr. Anand Chockalingam, it's a fantastic presentation you have given us. Also, thank you to Jagatishwari Saravanan and Marlene. Good to see you again. Thank you very much. Just a quick question on that, because you have showed everything based on overweight people. The patients are overweight and how you can bring their weight down and so on. So if somebody is underweight, how you can build up in order to keep all the things to be balanced as such.
We all need to give her a big hand. See, this is a problem only for, unfortunately, 1 out of 10 people being underweight. 80% of the world is overweight already. But it is a true problem. When you're underweight, we don't recommend fasting just like that. If you stop eating, you might become more underweight and you might become weaker. But just stopping eating is not what we teach. So we recommend so many things. Among that, towards mindfulness is sometimes time-restricted eating. And we now have people who are doing that and gaining healthy weight. And the way to gain healthy weight, again, is by stress reduction, because stress is contributing for weight gain in some people, for weight loss in some people. So when we connect the mind the right way with happiness, we can gain the weight back. And that weight will be in the form of strength and muscle when we do simple exercises like walking, bicycling, swimming, and a little bit of low weights, we can do high frequency reps. Excellent question.
Yeah, the thing is, when you're looking at that person, it doesn't look like he's stressed, but it may be genetically, or I don't know, it may be under stress within himself, which unknowingly. Is there any cases you have come across like that? Any hidden stress which the patient will know is going through it may be like an habit.
See, you ask all $1 million questions.
Sorry.
This is very, very nice. What I want to say is, many times people come, doctor, I'm stressed, I'm anxious. Then the doctor can do something about it. Sometimes people don't know they have stress. They internalize that stress and they come to the doctor for headache. They go for a head scan. They come to the doctor with chest pain. They go for stress testing. They come with ulcer or asthma or skin condition, psoriasis. All these things are manifestations of stress. Even irritable bowel syndrome, inflammatory, even bad habits like addiction to drugs or to alcohol or cigarettes, sometimes it's related to extreme stress and social pressures. So how to understand this stress? We can go on for hours. But how to cope with it, the solutions can be very, very beautiful and personalized. So if people don't have any symptoms, no medical problems, no mental symptoms, and if they're able to listen to us, or even otherwise, doctor, I'm happy, I'm smiling 20 times an hour, very, very rare for them to have any stress in them. And if they're also sleeping well, if they're saying I am sleeping 8 hours, I feel fresh, I'm not tired all day long, and they don't have symptoms, then they probably don't have stress. And there is, in 100 people, 2 or 3 who don't have stress at all. There are people like that. It's not like stress has to be there, but in 95% of the people, there is more stress than they want to deal with. Sometimes they know it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, because I come across, it looks very relaxed and thing. But when you do 24/7, when you're checking the blood pressure, you can see even that person when he's driving, you can see it's fluctuating because of the anxiety and so on. So
what
from there you can...
What is fluctuating?
The blood pressure, when they're checking for 24/7.
Oh, you're talking about ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, which means the cuff is tied to you and every 3 minutes it's giving a readout.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes. It is not, see, there is a thing called circadian rhythm. So nature itself has its own internal frequency, just like the ocean currents are determined by the moon and there is high tide, low tide. Like that, body itself has so many chemicals that are going up in the early morning, going down in the middle of the day, like that natural cycle. So blood pressure, it also tends to go up and down through the day. But definitely, if we are thinking about a horror movie versus a Charlie Chaplin comedy, the blood pressure is going to go up if you see a horror movie. What if you see 2 horror movies every day for 10 years? You may end up needing amlodipine or some other medicine. But if you see Charlie Chaplin more and more, you may not need it. So like that, acutely, if you're worried about a tiger chasing you, then you are going to have higher blood pressure. So definitely mental stress acutely and chronically can increase or make the blood pressure labile. Labile means fluctuating too much, more than 20, 30 points. So all these things play a role, but you can still have normal blood pressure and have stress also. If that's the next question you might have.
Thank you very much indeed for your help. Please do come again, come with another awareness chat. Thank you.
I look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next is Kularatna Master from New Malden. He's waiting for a long time. You can do. Thank you.
Hello, all the masters. Thank you, Professor Anand Chockalingam, sir. It was a wonderful presentation. What I actually clearly remember is, the medication can only do like a 20%, other 80%, we can actually heal ourselves, especially with the program like, the meditation and mindfulness awareness. People can actually change, and wonderful to have this program you actually running, and you actually in the right platform to spread your message and help other people as well throughout the world. Thank you so much for your service, and no doubt each and every participant in this platform will actually follow your system and actually benefit from that. And you can heal your body. That is a message everyone need to take it, and we can actually heal ourselves, and especially with the mindfulness as well as awareness of what you're actually doing. When we actually do meditation, we are trying to be in the present moment. When we actually in the present moment and think mindfulness about what you are doing, then we can actually heal ourselves. Thank you for a wonderful sort of presentation with the slideshow. I would like to thank you for the opportunity, Srikant Raja. I would like to make one announcement on behalf of from India, a Grandmaster coming tomorrow to UK, and we have actually organized a session, face-to-face session with this Grandmaster Prabhu sir in Ealing Kanagadurga Amman Temple, number 5, Chapel Road, London, W139 AE. This is on coming Thursday, 20th of April, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's a live session. It's a Grandmaster. That means he's a Brahmashri Prabhu sir. And I have actually attended his Gudakesha program for the last 40 days. I just completed 2 weeks ago. The program was meditating overnight for continuous for 40 days during the night time. And I actually connected with him, and I would like to take him to take this opportunity for all the masters in this platform. If we can, please do join this particular event. It's a 2-hour session on Thursday, 20th of April, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. The Grandmaster also has a 1-day workshop in Birmingham. If you all are available, the registration deadline is tomorrow. The information is available. If you can actually contact me. It's also in our Breath Meditation UK group, WhatsApp group. The information is there as well. It's a 1 full day meditation with lots of meditation and tips and techniques about how you can actually master your meditation. It's you're actually going to the different level rather than just doing meditation continuously, but we need to progress in the meditation as well, slightly upper level. He will actually teach all the techniques. Thank you for the opportunity. If anyone needs any information, please contact me or Srikant Raja sir. Thank you everyone, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Kula Master. Thank you very much indeed. Next is Mr. and Mrs. Shanmuganathan from Edgware, England.
Thank you, Sri Sandraja Master. First of all, let me thank the universe through Sri Skandara Master and Anand Master for having introduced you to us, Mr. Anand Chockalingam. We wouldn't have come to know you without this platform. Right. The next thing is, we have 3 mantra words in the family, Marilyn. One Uvahai. First one is Uvahai. Second one is the flow. And the third one is Marilyn. And of course, Anand is included. Anand is already included in here, but I am not telling his name. Why? Because we are always happy here. When I see you, when we saw you first time, and the talk of the house is you, Marilyn. And my wife even wanted to do a PhD as well. So, so you are kind of role model in our house. You changed quite a bit things in our house through via Mr. Anand Chockalingam.
So now I must interrupt right now, sir. My mother also is inspired by Marilyn.
Oh,
when my mother came to the US last summer, I made my mom and Marilyn sit next to each other in a meeting that Marilyn spoke about her heartful living. And then my mom told me, Anand, Marilyn is 5 years older than me. Because my mom, she has lost her dad and her sister and several of her friends at 75. And she was slowing down in her life in Chennai, thinking, okay, it's about time I slow down and it may be time to exit this world. But when she saw Marilyn starting to change around and so much energy, that too from heartful living, then she said, I have to do it. So in the last 6 months, my mom has gone back to India and done fitness training, other things, because she is been losing her core muscle strength, which means she couldn't get up from the floor and she's just feeling old. I asked a neurologist who said, you're just getting old, auntie, don't worry. The neurologist she's known for 30 years, that's what he told her. But Marilyn said, no, you can do better. So my mom is doing so well. So I also thank Marilyn. So I let you continue, sir.
Oh, that's fantastic. Dr. Anand, you may remember my wife Dama and daughter Tara. They joined all your highlight program. So they have finished their highlight program with you, and it's really interesting to come to know you and your dad's first talk here on this platform. I even rang him to India especially and talked to him to congratulate him on his fantastic talk. So your family has come so closer to us in this kind of way. You know, we have, even though we haven't met each other. So I'm very thankful to you. Anyway, the 3 mantra words are here: Uvahai, flow, and Marilyn. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Next is Dr. Navaratnam. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for letting me come in again. As everybody has said, Anand Chockalingam, great speech, and he has shown us a lot of new things. Just wanted to, for the sake of non-medical people, inflammation, of course, the hidden inflammation is what Dr. Anand was talking about. But when we draw a knife over our skin, in the forearm, there will be swelling, there will be pain, redness, warmth, and tenderness. These are symptoms and signs of inflammation. And that is necessary for the healing of the wound inflicted by the knife. But of course, the inflammation that occurs inside the body due to our misuse or different, and the outcome may not be as good as the surface inflammation. The other thing about fasting, that's a very good thing, although our parents have taught us not to fast, at least to fast only once or twice a week for what you call viradam, for religious purposes, they say. That was also a good thing. My father lived up to the age of 103. He used to fast several times during the week. In the mornings, he won't eat. He'll only eat a lunch at about midday. And that was one of the good practices he had, which I didn't follow. The other thing, there was a gentleman who lived up to 136 years. I think we've seen picture shown in the internet, and he's still very active, able to exercise, do all sorts of physical exercise. The other thing about not eating, there's a condition called anorexia nervosa, because Dr. Shanti will know. These psychological disturbed children or young adults who tend to not eat. Because that is another not so good thing. That's something that I thought I should mention. And the fact that Dr. Anand has shown a way to live and to live happily and to smile several times a day. Of course, this laughing therapy, of course, we are following here. And being able to smile, able to take things calmly. I have noticed in my own way, in my life, I'm getting less and less disturbed by things that are not bringing me happiness around me. I take them a bit calmly, and I tell my children also not to get too excited about things that are not palatable. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Navaratnam. Next